Hey, welcome to What's the Tea, the TransLink podcast. I'm your host, John Jang. Here's what we're discussing on this episode.
It's my first day.
Since I'd never seen you before, maybe it is your first day. Very well, carry on.
Why is transit so important for newcomers? Let's tap in to What's the Tea.
The next station is
Welcome to What's the Tea, the TransLink podcast.
Earlier this season, we spoke with Chris Chan, the manager of travel training at TransLink, and learned the ways that TransLink is trying to help newcomers settle into Metro Vancouver. One thing we know for sure is that this region will continue to grow. New figures from Stats Canada show that approximately 120,000 new residents moved into Metro Vancouver last year. And for context, the population of Delta is estimated at around 110,000 residents. And I think that helps to put things into perspective and really embolden the importance of helping newcomers learn to use our transit system. For many people that arrive here, access to transit will be their main source of transportation around their new communities as they learn to build new lives and forge new futures.
Knowing that you have a bus waiting for you no matter what time, no matter where, knowing that it's affordable, even if you're still looking for a job, is really important for us. I still say for us because I still consider myself an immigrant.
Mary Akberry is a volunteer coordinator with the Immigrant Services Society of BC, or the ISS of BC. Their job is to help newcomers settle into their new homes, and as Mary explains, a strong and robust transit system plays a significant role in accomplishing that goal.
The program that I'm in charge of is the Community Connection Program. I manage field trips, English conversation circles, I recruit volunteers. So I basically work with clients who are newcomers, and I have settlement mentors who are volunteers, and they commit to take newcomers to different places, like different recreational places, to just show them around the city every week. And as a part of their plan, they go to different stations together to just show them how to get a compass card, how to use a SkyTrain, how to use the bus.
As an immigrant myself, I'm really glad to see and hear that programs like this exist, because I think it would have been, if I was still younger and maybe had known about this organization, would have loved to have seen what that could have been like for me growing up. But let me ask you then, Mary, what inspired you to want to kind of do this line of work?
It's kind of a funny story how I got involved with ISS of BC. I can say it was because of TransLink.
Really now?
Yeah.
Okay, elaborate on that if you can.
So when I first got here, I'm originally from Iran. I lived in different countries, but I finally chose Canada, especially BC, to be my forever home.
Mm-hmm.
And so during my second week, I was in a rush to find a job for obvious reasons. And before coming here, I used to be an English teacher. So I thought, okay, I should look for something similar. So I applied for a few jobs, and I got an interview downtown. And I said, okay, it's easy. I'm going to use the public transport, whatever they have here in BC, and get there. So I looked it up, and compared to what I had in Japan, it was very easy. I had to switch to Expo Line and then go to Broad Station. Very easy. So I went to the SkyTrain station and got on the train. I was looking for a train conductor or someone on the train who was in charge, but no, there was no one. So it was amazing. And I remember I sat on the front seat looking out through the window. It was a sunny day in August. I started filming, taking photos. I totally forgot about the job interview or the station that I had to get off. So by the time that I realized I had to get off, I think it was Commercial. Yes, at Commercial Broadway, I was in BCC. Mm-hmm. And it was too late to go back to the interview. So I sat there disappointed. I lost the job. I lost my chance. And I saw an ad for ISS of BC. It said, are you a newcomer? I think it was for our employment services. And if you have more questions, contact us. So I contacted them right away and became a client. So when I saw how my case manager helped me, how supportive she was, and what a great place it was to work, I immediately applied and got a job here. So that's why I said TransLink was the reason.
That's actually amazing. Just hearing you share that story. I think a lot of people, when they come to Metro Vancouver for the first time, they might not know the SkyTrain is a fully automated system. And for us who have grown up here a long time, it's something that we just kind of take for granted sometimes. So to hear your experience and then to hear you call it amazing, I think that's really wonderful. And I can imagine what that was like when you're just kind of sitting in the front seat. I think I did that when I was younger too, just kind of thinking like, oh, it's kind of neat, just visualizing that I'm the one driving the SkyTrain in a sense. So that's very, very relatable, I'm sure, to a lot of our listeners as well. So I'm glad there was a happy ending though, because if it was just that you missed the interview, we would have felt pretty bad, but I'm glad it all worked out.
Yeah, it worked out pretty well. I'm happy that I work here. I want to talk a little about ISS of BC and what we do here. So I think it's been more than 50 years. Yeah. So ISS of BC was established in 1968. And ever since, our mission has been to help immigrants build a future in Canada. And that is beautiful. So with the help of our funders, like provincial and federal government and private funders, we have 3 main services, which are settlement, employment, and language support for refugees, immigrants, and temporary residents. And as you said, I know a lot of immigrants here who are now my volunteers, and they say, I wish we had these kind of services when we got here like 30 years ago. And I'm happy that it's improving. I'm happy that we have more services for immigrants and refugees, because it's really important, especially when there is a language barrier and you come to somewhere that's totally new for you. You have to have someone to help you.
Absolutely. And I think that's a story that resonates with a lot of people listening, like myself. Of course, I shared earlier that I'm an immigrant. My whole family immigrated here from South Korea. When we arrived here, we didn't have a lot of money, of course. So just having a car right away was not an option for us. Relying on public transit was very important for me to kind of learn what my new home and BC and in Canada was going to be like. So I'm sure not too dissimilar from your story there, Mary. Maybe you could explain then like the unique relationship that exists between TransLink and ISS of BC, because I think we're kind of talking about it already, but the role that public transit plays for a lot of newcomers to this country. You mentioned refugees. I mean, that's an important one, because a lot of times these people are coming here under less than ideal circumstances where, they didn't plan necessarily maybe to be here, but they are here and they need to get around the region.
Yeah, exactly. So I know that ISS of BC and TransLink collaborate with each other in our settlement services and employment. So for settlement, I know that the manager of travel training program and public affairs had informational workshops for our staff to let us know what kind of services TransLink has and how we can use them for our clients. Something like Candidart, for example. It's always good to know about the details and how we can book that for clients. Also, our funder has a specific budget for TransLink tickets for our clients. So whenever they come to in-person like appointments, meetings, workshops, or whatsoever, we can provide them with these tickets. So they won't have to spend out of their own pockets. And in our employment services, I think in our employment services, TransLink recruitment team, and more specifically the engineering project delivery program, have had different collaborations with our career path program. So what they do is that Career Pass has actually referred clients to those programs at TransLink, so they can be reviewed by the talent acquisition team that you have. And I'm sure that a few people have been hired by TransLink. And it's only because TransLink is creating the culture of inclusion and welcoming newcomers in their hiring approach, which is great. And I'm just hoping that more hiring managers have this approach to focus on the qualifications rather than what the past experience was and where they had it. Even though they were like temporary programs, maybe 6-month programs, it gave our clients the benefit of being able to apply internally for more permanent positions, have TransLink on their resume, and have that so-called Canadian experience.
Love it. I mean, all of that I think is such important work. And I love to see that the relationship between TransLink and ISS of BC is so meaningful for a lot of these people. And it sounds like the relationship benefits like not just the clients that you have, but also some of your colleagues, the employees. You shared your story. Has anyone else that maybe you work with regularly, like do they also have a similar experience with public transit or TransLink in general? What do you think?
I think yes. Most of the people that I know use public transport to get to work. Especially we have this program called MAP Moving Ahead program that the caseworkers travel to different locations with our clients, or they meet them outside the office, and they all use public transport. So as you can see, it's a vital part of our life. I mean, both personal and work life. And I'm happy that it's easy to use. As I said, there are not so many lines to confuse you. You can easily get around the city. Of course, there's always room for improvement. But yeah, I'm happy that we have it here in Metro Vancouver, and I wish it was more accessible in other areas like Fraser Valley.
One more question then for you, Mary. When you take the SkyTrain these days, do you still sit at the front? Is that still your favorite seat?
Oh, not anymore. I mean,
you're past that now.
Yeah, it depends on the day. Sometimes when it's rainy and it's beautiful, it's worth a shot. I said, okay, why not? But I can say it's mostly for new users. For me, I sit next to the door so I can get out as fast as I can.
See, at this point, you're a veteran. You know, you got to get in and out. You got places to go. You got people to see. So I can fully appreciate that. You know, what is one tip that you would want to share with any newcomers who are arriving in Metro Vancouver and using transit? Now that you've gone through the SkyTrain and the bus experience yourself, maybe if there was something you could have told you the very first day you arrived in Vancouver, what would that piece of advice be?
Okay, let me think. So I know that our settlement workers, when they first meet our clients, they give these little maps of TransLink so they can know how to get around even if they don't have access to online maps. But one thing that's very tricky and funny is to be aware of the zoning. Because sometimes for a newcomer, you know, everybody lives on a budget and you kind of calculate how much you're going to spend on transportation this month. And you go one stop further away and you say, oh, it was another zone. So now I have to pay more. So yeah, try to be careful about zoning and try to plan in advance, like plan your trip way in advance. So you don't forget, like me, where to get off the train. But sometimes that leads to good things, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, very well said. Mary, I think it's been wonderful talking with you and learning more about the work that ISS at BC does with TransLink. Just one last question then, like how, just to maybe reiterate the importance of what transit accessibility means to newcomers. I mean, we kind of touched on this already a few minutes ago, but I don't think it can be overstated, really, the importance that our role is with people that are coming to Metro Vancouver and hoping to establish a brand new life here.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is extremely important to have accessible, affordable, and safe public transport throughout Metro Vancouver and Fraser Valley, and honestly everywhere. Just imagine the life of an immigrant coming here the very first night that they arrive at YVR airport. So they have to get home to their very first home or to the temporary residence that they have. And the next day, they have Service Canada, they have ICBC, they have opening a bank account, or they have their appointments at the ISSF BC. So these are the important steps that they have to take. And there is no other way to get to those places but using the public transportation. And not everyone can afford a car. And I think that we should not have to afford a car or have a car for so many reasons. So this is something that affects their settlement journey. This is something that affects that first impression that they get from that new place that they should call home from now on. And even after that, like they are settled, now they're looking to have a full life. So many people say that maybe, for example, in Maple Ridge, there is no nightlife. I know that we try to introduce and try to engage with our clients by taking them to a hockey game. But, hockey games sometimes go past 10 p.m. So I didn't want everyone to be worried about the night bus. So having that, like knowing that you have a bus waiting for you no matter what time, no matter where, knowing that it's affordable, even if you're still looking for a job, is really important for us. I still say for us because I still consider myself an immigrant.
Access to public transit really is the be-all and end-all for newcomers. As it is so eloquently put by our friend Chris Chan, transportation might only be a small part of their day, but it is that part that makes everything else possible. It makes their transition easier and affordable. A strong and expansive transit system allows newcomers to grow, new families to thrive, and new futures to be built. That's why, with our region rapidly growing every single year, we need new investments to expand the transit system to meet the needs of an ever-growing population here in Metro Vancouver. Their future is our future, and that is why it all matters. My thanks to Mary Akberry and the entire ISSF BC team for giving us the time to speak on the work they do, Chris Chan, the manager of travel training at TransLink, for getting us in touch with Mary and her team, producer Alan for making sure the future of this podcast remains bright as always, and of course, our thanks to you for listening and subscribing. I've been your host, John Jang, and until next time, have a safe trip.